So I was just like, I need to get a dick on the wall. I made a profile on Tinder and Grindr saying, are you photo ready?
Do you think music videos still have cultural relevancy?
If I'm seeing lit videos all the time overseas, then it's just here. It said to me that I'm not going to be a cinematographer because I'm a woman and because I'm black.
And I hate when I make something and by the end I'm like, that's not going on my reel.
Commercials aren't where your soul lives. You just leave it at home, you get the job done.
Commercials to film to TV. It's a really tough time to be working in the industry right now. Do you have any kind of like pearls of wisdom to help us weather the storm? The mic's definitely close enough to us both.
Mine sounds sexy.
Yeah, okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Welcome to We The Creators, a show that spotlights incredible talent in film, TV and commercials. Introducing Denisha Anderson.
Thank you for having me.
UKMVA-nominated director, photographer, creative force hailing from South London.
Done already.
Whether you're directing music videos for Wooloo, publishing zines or exhibiting at the V&A, your work really pushes what storytelling can look and feel like. Thanks so much for coming on. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. You brought your first camera when you were 16. What was your earliest memory with a camera or a photograph that made you think this is the beginning of something?
So I wanted to go to film school. I was 17 and they said you needed a photography portfolio. So I dropped business and picked up photography. And I took a photo of some random guy in the cafeteria. And my photography teacher was so gassed at the photo, called it timeless. 17-year-old me. I know, loved that for me. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe something's gone in here. And then that was it.
Oh, okay. What was the moment where you actually was like, this could be for me?
What, for film and storytelling and the whole shebang? Well, to be honest, I never chose film. It found me. When I went to apply for college, I actually wanted to do performing arts. I wanted to try something new, scare myself. By the time I got there, they were like, we don't do that anymore, even though it was on like page 35 of the prospectus. So the geezer was giving me all these different subjects. And then he said, film studies. I said, what you got down there? And he said, I don't know what you do, but I know you watch films. I said, I can definitely do that. Then I started watching films, been in class, learning about different departments. Then I learned about this thing called cinematography. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I went to film school and then specialised in cinematography.
So that was when the kind of click happened.
Yeah. So that was a shift in terms of like, mise en scène and you know what I mean, like framing and all the bits and bobs. Yeah.
Awesome. What themes are you drawn to in your work and why? And what is the goal of your work?
The themes that I think about in my work or explore are always under the umbrella of identity. So I look at class, race, gender, sexuality. I look at these themes because these are some of the things that ultimately like really encompass our society. And I find it interesting. I'm definitely a voyeur. I'm definitely someone who is human obsessed. So in exploring these themes, I hope to evoke new conversations around topics that we know to hopefully shift perspective in a more connected, more unified, more inclusive, I guess, society. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know.
100%. Let's talk about music videos.
Yeah.
You directed the video for Summer Pearl's The Creator. It felt like a bit of a shift creatively. It's kind of quieter, reverent, still powerful like all of your other work. But I wondered, was that in response to the artist or was that an actual shift in the creative direction from you?
You know what, yeah? In my music videos, majority of them, I've actually shot more men than women. When I'm reflecting right now live with you, the videos I've done with women are a bit slower actually, a little bit more gentle. But I think that's also because things they're talking about are a little bit softer, you know, like my video for Leah Sen Hyacinth, that's in a studio and like recreating a space, but the song is reflecting on her life and shifting. The Summer Pearl one, she says that like she didn't write that, like the creator came through her, which is why it's called The Creator, and intentionally shot where she's from, so she's from West London, and I've always wanted to have like swipe shots and I wanted to feel a little bit like a little bit of a noir mood, So yeah, I just was trying to have fun really. It was like a kind of like an exercise to flex some muscles, but not in an arrogant way. Because I know all of those words I just said might sound really quite egotistical, but that's not the vibe. It's just, I just like creating. Yeah. So in any kind of realm, I want to try and expand and try other little things. Because I've shot a lot of videos, shot like 3 videos for Wooloo, and I did Nothing But Thieves. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of energy. It's very like bravado. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of peacocking or whatever, just in the song or maybe what it's about. So I think that energy leans itself to that, much like the energy leans itself the other way with the female artists that I've shot because of the music they're creating.
I'm imagining these are all quite low budget videos.
Summer Pearl one was really low, and Leah Sen was like about 2 times more than that, and I shot on 2 cameras to have 3 windows inspired by Isaac Julian. You know that guy?
No.
He's an artist.
Okay.
He's from the Caribbean, but he's a British, black, queer artist, and he makes really beautiful work. He had a retrospective at Tate Britain, so he does that. Installations and free windows. And so I wanted to do that because it really, really inspired me. That's actually probably one of my favourite videos, if I'm going to be honest. Just as how it moves. There's something constantly happening, but it's just a slight shift in the same space of perspective.
But I guess where I was going with that is that, like, obviously music video budgets have shrunk a lot.
Yeah.
And what you do really, really well is you manage to create these music videos that have, like, it's not even just high production values. The standard, the quality, you know, you do photography, so that really comes through your work as well. But your standards up here and the budgets are, generally speaking, not up here. How do you achieve that?
Through stress. Lots and lots of stress. Lots and lots of favours, which I hate. Having an exceptional team. Like anything I've ever created, I'm so grateful to every single body that contributed to that, because it just wouldn't be that without them. So
Do you tend to work with the same people because of that?
yeah, like a lot of my videos, I've worked with the same DOP.
Who are they? Give them a shout out. Or you want to keep them to yourself?
No. I think Zeke Denze, and then you got Jed Darlington Roberts. I don't have my phone, so I can't even double check that. But yeah, but Jed is my guy. Yeah, he's my ride at that. He kind of gets me, so it's nice because we've built a relationship. I asked him if he'd like to be my DOP, and he was like, I'd love to. So then we've just started courting ever since on the creative field. Yeah.
Amazing. Music videos are a space where you've been able to, like, really cultivate your voice and play, especially through your collaboration with Wulu, who you've mentioned. Looking at your music video South, like 4 years on from when it was released, it's still just as poignant and powerful and important as I'm sure it was when it was released back then, visually and politically. What was the kind of lasting feeling that you wanted to kind of leave people with when you made that?
Well, I just made it for my pal at the time, and I love anything written about London.
Yeah.
Like, those are my favourite tunes. This one is more than London, it's South, and that's where I'm born and raised. At the time, obviously, a lot of political unrest. So with 2020, BLM, the whole thing. So we shot with a real protest happening while also recreating a protest on the wettest day of the year. And we also got some kit from Fat Llama, and some bits were missing. And I had 5 camera operators, 30 extras, and only 3 people for a team. Yeah, it was a lot still. Yeah. And like feds, innit? You know what feds are like.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen it, check it
that's
out.
That's definitely the hardest
South
video I've ever done
Wulu.
in my life.
I imagine so. Like I said, it's up there, and like I said, I know that there will have been many challenges that you'll have faced to get that made.
But the weather though, wow, it was peak.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can tell there's so much of you in there as well. That's what I think is really cool.
Think so?
Yes.
Why?
You know, you're an artist. Like, it's a music video, but we're getting a sense of your voice, what you want to say. Like you said, how you feel about London and capturing London. It really does that in a really powerful way that only somebody who is really connected to it could do. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean it. Yeah. Of the music videos that you've directed, how many of those have come to you via like music video reps, and how many of those have come to you via the relationships that you've cultivated with artists yourself?
I'd say it's 50-50.
Really? Yeah. So to other people who kind of like make music videos or want to make music videos, do you think there's a strong argument for trying to connect with artists yourselves?
100%. I also teach at university part-time, and I tell my students, you got to do some crab networking. And what I mean by that is obviously crabs move sideways. And if you look to your left or look to your right, these are your peers that you can work with. You don't need to go outsource mad far on the internet to a stranger you don't know when you can just ask Louise on your left.
So true.
So yes, in short, because like I grew up with Wulu, and the video I did with the bug and Flowdown, I also went to school with my brethren who I made that with. The animation I did for Joe Armand Jones, Maxwell Owen and Lexa Moore, I did that with a girl that was uni with. Everything you need, one, is always within you, and also your resources are only like an arm stretch away.
Andy, who's shooting this right now, he shot some of my earliest short films many years ago, and we have friends who also have made shorts on like no budgets whatsoever, and we've all just sort of collaborated together, and it is that sideways thing, especially when there's very little money or you're pulling in favours. It's kind of like you can help each other, right? It can be mutually beneficial.
But I feel like that energy has stopped after a certain age, and I understand, in this economy jolting, but at the same point, like, not every day, like, oh yeah, this is my fee. And I understand that, like, also you need to find people that believe in your vision who want to do that. So there's a lot of factors at play. But like, you know, I was having a conversation, with an artist, a famous artist. You know, do you know Lainey Richardson?
Yeah, went to an exhibition.
So I was chatting to her, she was like, you know, you got to build your community, you got to build your network, and then you work together. Like, that's how me and everyone else came up together. And I said, I understand that, I support that, I rate that, but like, that community for me is lost. So then it's hard, because it becomes a place of extraction. I'll do this for you if you ever pay me this, or you owe me in kind, but it's never really that kind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree, but I feel like I've exhausted my favours, and I feel like I can't ask the same people again. And I'm not saying this is right or correct, but I always feel this guilt unless I do somehow repay them. I feel like I can't go back to them, because I've been on the receiving end of people who just come and ask you for stuff over and over again, and that doesn't feel good either. So I'm always like maybe a bit overly cautious about how things land.
When they ask you for over and over again, do you say yes?
Depends on the person and depends what they're asking for. Like, any of my inner circle, like I said, the people who I've known for years, I'll read I'll feedback on every script that they write. Happy to do it. But when it comes to, say, somebody that I met at a networking event, 3 months ago, and then from that point onwards they just ask, then that doesn't feel good, because I just feel used. Especially if you're not like, there's no sort of like cultivating of any form of relationship. There's no like hanging out. There's no like catching up. Like, I had somebody the other day who I haven't spoken to or heard from in years reached out. I like the preamble. I like the, how are you? How's life? Even if it's just a segue. I need that. I need that little bit. Like, how have you been? It's been so long.
Like, oh my
God.
God.
Yeah, oh my God. Da, da, da. And then you go, I need a favor from you. But it was just like, they went cold straight into, hi, I need this thing. Can you tell me the thing, or how I can do the thing? Yeah, that kind of energy doesn't work for me. I really want to kind of build communities this year. So kind of going back to what you said, for me, it's more like, I want these relationships and dynamics that do feel collaborative, that do feel genuine, that do feel like mutually like symbiotic, where it feels almost like an informal collective. That I'm all for.
For me, like, while you're building community, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm also speaking up. So if you don't ask, you don't get. And like, I already tell myself it's a no before I've even tried.
Interesting.
I haven't really pulled in on too many favors, because I've never asked, because I just think I ain't got no peace, so they're not even gonna bother hear me. So now you're saying you've rinsed yours, and let me at least try. And then
absolutely. Another one of my mottos for this year is like, I'm shooting my shot.
Outside.
Your ongoing documentary photo series titled Man, where you're on a quest to photograph 100 men in the nude. It really zooms in on masculinity, vulnerability, intimacy. What made you want to do that project, and how have you found that process of trying to get people to take part?
I was inspired by an exhibition that I thought was pants and just bare tits and batty on a wall and vagina depicted from a male gaze. So I was just like, I need to get a dick on a wall. That's literally what I said to my boyfriend at the time, because I was with him in the exhibition. And then I texted about 40 guys in my phone, 4 replied. And then I made a profile on Tinder and Grindr saying, are you photo ready? And then saying what I'm here for, what it's about. I spoke to about 300 men, and I've shot 37. I got really exhausted. I started hate men during the project, not outside the project.
Why?
Just because of like how they speak to me. It was just like quite aggressive. There were a lot of hidden agendas, and it was all about sex. So I had those profiles, but I also spoke to people in real life. I might be like just on the street, see a guy on the pavement. I'm like, I've never shot a man like him. I want to shoot him. And so yeah, that's how I found people. I used to be a chef at one point. I made a breakfast for a geezer, and I said, boom, would you mind posing for me? He said, yeah. So I went to his house the following week.
Wow.
So it's a bit random, yeah.
I also think it's interesting, because you were just saying how you don't always pull in favours and shoot your shot, but there you were like, you were shooting your shot.
Yeah, I know. I'm upside down. Yeah, I know.
So a very kind of mixed response in terms of the energy you kind of got back from it.
Yeah. Because even some of the geezers that I shot, like later on after I shot them, like, for some reason they think, oh, now you see me naked, you want some of this?
Oh,
so then I get like really inappropriate texts and messages. Yeah.
That's interesting, because the work in and of itself is, I guess, questioning and interrogating masculinity and these things, and actually through the process of
desire, all of these things.
But at the same time, there's like a double narrative, because while you're actually working on the project, you're experiencing this whole other version of that. Yeah. That is obviously not going to be captured in the photography.
Yeah, I can't capture a guy moving to me. You know
of course. But that's kind of interesting, right? No?
Yeah, I mean, someone moving to me is never interesting, but
Not the act of what they're doing, but
Yeah.
just the duality of the project that you were trying to set out to kind of look at, and the kind of realities that you unfortunately faced.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say a term like this, but I don't know how else to say it. So forgive me for any person listening to this, man or woman. Yeah. But men are going to be men, innit? If they're going to see a girl, just you and them alone, they're going to use it as an opportunity to shoot their shot. No one was ever like, whoa, what, WTF? But like, it's still inappropriate. Do you know what I mean? But I did meet really lovely people. Still talk to them now. One of them is my dog. So yeah, man, it's just one of those things, innit? People are people. So there you go. People are going to be people. It's not about being a man. It's people being people. Because I believe if I had a project and I was the same one, but I was just shooting women, I think some woman was going to try and move to me.
Absolutely.
So I started posting recently because I haven't been shooting it for a long time, and I want it done, and I hate not completing things. And I'm also a bit of a perfectionist in a toxic way. I'm working on it. So I started posting some images, and I put some captions just to talk about how, what was the vibe with this geezer at the time. And a geezer that I don't know DM me saying, I really like what you're doing, and if you're still doing it, I'd like to pose for you. So I'm hoping to shoot him later on this month. He just hollered at me because he liked what I shot. Yeah. And he said that, he hasn't got a best relationship with his body. So he feels that if I capture his body, he might have a better relationship with it. But I need to holler at him.
It's a really incredible project, and I would love to see more. And I'd love to see an exhibition as well.
Who knows how this will end. But yeah.
Yeah, so let's zoom into the industry a bit more. According to a Guardian article, the average music video budget has dropped in the last 15 years from £30,000 to £5,000. Do you think the decline is killing music video as a form, or do you think it's kind of forcing a kind of like creative ingenuity?
Bro, like, it's only here you get no peas. In America, they get bare peas. Yeah. So it's got nothing to do with that. It's just about the industry here on British soil.
Yeah.
That's it. I know like everyone's talking about short form and TikTok and all those kind of things, but like if I'm seeing lit videos all the time overseas, then it's just here. You can shoot here for cheaper in terms of making a film. That's why Americans come here. But like we can't do that. Over there's guap. So, if I want to go over to America on a tourist visa, 3 months, but an American can come here for 6 months. Do you know what I mean? So we're always in their shadows, but we're not taking any proper notes to elevate ourselves. So it's not really about budget in terms of like, oh, is it killing it? It's just like, there just needs to be a shift. And everyone needs to do that together collectively and be like, right, like this isn't helping creativity. It's not really about the P's, because I know P's exist. Do you know, in London, 1 in 20 people are a millionaire. So I know P's exist. I walk past a millionaire every day. So someone just needs to give me the P's so I can make something lit.
So is it the record label? Who's to blame them?
I don't point fingers. It's just there's a system that's been created and they're sticking to the system, but the system is outdated. So when you shift that, then everyone can be happy and everyone can benefit. But if you're not shifting it, so then only a small amount of people can benefit, you're cutting people out. Simple as that.
Therefore, do you think music videos still have cultural relevancy?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I say that because when I see something lit, I'm like, yeah, we should show that. Oh shit, who made that? Who's a DOP? You get me?
Yeah.
Especially if they're British. I've got like a little list of British DOPs.
I was going to ask you, is there a music video in particular or a music video director that you have seen lately that you're just like, they're sick?
Yeah, I saw a video that was sick. I saw it on We Present, but I can't remember his name. I've got it saved on my phone.
We might have to get your phone. There's all this cool stuff in your phone.
I know. I can link it to you later.
How about the people who are watching want to know, where is your phone?
Can I get my...
It was there the whole time.
No, it wasn't there the whole time.
Okay.
It wasn't there the whole time. I've got a saved folder called Arty Shit. Should be in there. Oh my gosh, it's too much pressure. I can't do this.
Just like one little name or one music video that we should check out.
Oh gosh.
Other than yours, of course.
I just really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. Oh my god, I found it. Lucky you, eh?
Yeah.
Jeremy Pope. Do you know that geezer?
No.
He made a
Jeremy
mad
Pope.
thing. I made this whole video. It's called You Lost and What I Gotta Do. And it's so lit. It's all black and white. It's really expressive. Lots of contrasting and like shadows. It's lovely. Jeremy Pope, yeah.
Jeremy Pope.
He's got 1 million followers on the old gram. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Is there an event from early in your career that set the tone for your professional philosophy?
Question, what's your professional philosophy?
Oh, good. Throw it back at me. As in what's mine personally?
Yes.
It's partly down to how I see the world and when I was growing up, what I thought was missing in terms of representation, but also my journey into the industry and how I didn't really feel like I belonged. And when I came in as a runner, wanting to be a director, I didn't feel like there was space for me. I felt quite invisible. So for me, it's like twofold. I'm driven by my curiosity with people, subcultures, identity, but I'm also driven by a desire to kind of like, not so much like right the wrongs that I experience, but to kind of change the spaces that I create, the productions that I work on, so that, you know, they're not like that. Like, I make it my job in every production that I'm directing to make sure I probably don't need to do this, but I acknowledge everybody. You know, I chat to everybody because I know how it felt feeling invisible before. So that's an aspect of my professional philosophy.
Okay. Well, when I was starting off and like, you know, finishing uni and getting in the crux of it, I wasn't really thinking about those things. I just accepted from early that where I want to be is very male heavy. And everything I've ever done since young has always been male heavy. So I wasn't thinking about, oh my gosh, I need to make this more, you know, feminine or more women focused or whatever. I was just like, I want to get in there. I want to make something lit. That was just my whole thing. So as I've got older and experiences and vocab has expanded, and I say that not because I'm illiterate, but because, you know, as you get older, like there's things that you don't know how to describe when you're going through it. Now that I can call what that is, and now in terms of representation and trying to push things forward there, that is important to me. But that's been a developing process. But also when I was growing up and started in the industry, I wanted to be a cinematographer, and I only worked with miserable white men, and when they weren't miserable, they were younger than me, then I'd had to train them up, and then I'd be belittled or patronized, or, you know, all of those kind of things that, oh, like, let me get that for you, darling, don't want you breaking it now. In my life, I've had one manicure. That's just not really my thing. But so that's shifted in terms of representation and what's important or what I want to try and move forward, or do you know what I mean, or shift or whatever.
Yeah, and I like that as well. Like, I feel like obviously cinematography is male dominated, directing is to a degree as well, so it's evolved a bit, but it still is. I was an editor as well at some point, that's completely male dominated. But I agree, like I wasn't going into these things thinking like I'm a woman or they're men, I'm just drawn to what I'm drawn to. And actually the kind of thoughts I have or have formulated have been about how people have responded to me, not about how I've kind of gone into that space. Does that make sense? Yeah,
no, 100%. Like when I was 23, not too far away from where we are right now, a really famous gaffer said to me that I'm not going to be a cinematographer because I'm a woman and because I'm black. And he told me that about 12:30 in the afternoon at some fancy cafe just down the road from here. So that was like an impetus to carry on. I don't like people telling me no, but after more years of doing the same thing and being patronised, and that's why I quit. Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm not a quitter. Don't want anyone listening to this thinking that. just shifting into a different space.
With what that person said, even though you've said yourself, and I feel the same, and a lot of people say the same, where like they use that energy to propel themselves, it still kind of can penetrate. Like, how much did it impact you at the time?
Maybe it had more of a subconscious effect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'd work on like shoots, like commercials, because I'm not the only woman all the time. The men would tell me really personal things about themselves and I don't care, but they'd see that as a space because I'm a woman. I just want to learn some skills, bro. I don't really care about your personal life. They're not giving me that. They'd rather give me their sob story rather than, you know, ways I can upskill and develop. So I think my gender played a bigger role there, even though I was unaware. You know, this is like me reflecting as an older person.
Yeah. You said that you quit, and was that driven kind of in part
just
by
because of experiences?
Experiences.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, you know, we're talking about like hindsight and retrospect. How do you feel like today, looking back on that scenario, thinking about how like the actions of others impacted your life choices? How do you feel now?
My choices impact my life. You know, I stayed in that, banged it out for 5 years plus or whatever, and I was just like, this is dead. We got to move on.
I like it. Yeah, you've dabbled in the commercial world as well. How do you balance visual instincts with what labels and brands want you to deliver? Can you balance your visual instincts, you know?
Can you expand on that?
Yeah. My biggest struggle directing commercials has actually been this. It's visually coming from like an independent filmmaking background or documentary background, doing stuff kind of really small crew, really scaled back. I feel like when you then work with a lot more cooks, a lot more voices, a lot more people to please, a lot more boxes to tick, I find that my creative, from how it starts in the beginning, you know, the treatment, the vision, all of that jazz, I feel like, and I'm being really honest here, I feel like it just sort of gets chipped away at. And I do, for a long portion of that process, try and stand my ground and try and fight for certain things, but there are just so many different voices across brand and agency that I feel like after a while, I just kind of like give up a bit. And I think I've seen other directors who don't do that. Like, I've seen a lot of other directors who are able to like retain the integrity of the vision and and the voice, and you still get a sense of them in the final product. Because I think with some of my commercial work, I've lost that battle at times. And I hate when I make something and by the end I'm like, that's not going on my reel. No one's seeing that. I'm not posting about that. So yeah, that's kind of why I was asking if you've had...
Well, like, you know, at the beginning when you're pitching, it's all you. Yeah. And then, you know, my brother told me from early doors, he lives in Mexico, he's a director, and he's like, look, mate, commercials aren't where your soul lives. So you just leave it at home, you get the job done. Because they like what you create personally, but they don't really want you to create that. They just want you to do what they want. So once you accept that, it'll be easy. And that's it. Yeah. So I just try to switch off then, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Switch off respectfully, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, unless it's obviously something absolutely obtuse. And I'm like, babe, I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. But I still struggle with that because I feel like they come to you because they see something in your work that they love and want to capture. And often in the beginning conversations they're all like, yeah, we just want to do that. And yada, yada, yada. But when things move forward, there isn't really any risk taking and they kind of sort of then get scared.
Yeah, because it's a brand. Isn't it? So like the brand has an identity and that identity is not meant to shift. You're meant to
but don't be wooing me. Don't be wooing me and telling me sweet nothings about what things are going to be like. And then
I don't trust anyone in that
space.
So for me, like it's all performance. So I expect you to lie to inflate an element of my ego. So because I know there's a falsity, there's only so much of me that I'm going to give. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good because I fall for it every time. Every single time.
But that's not you falling for it. It's just you just being passionate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're passionate about your craft, you're passionate about what your output. That's okay. I'm working on something now that's really personal. I've applied for some funding. It's not a lot of money. It probably won't have the production value that I'm used to, but I'm really ready to put it out. So and that's calm. And that's it. This is it. That's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is literally our purpose. We've been gifted with this. Some people have been gifted with like, you know, doing up numbers and stuff, or being a designer, like making cute jackets. You know what I mean? We tell stories.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. This will be the last depressing question.
Oh, shit, man.
The very last one. The last depressing one. For the industry, so from commercials to film to TV to music videos, are under immense pressure at the moment. Budgets are strapped. It's a really tough time to be working in the industry right now. Do you have any kind of like pearls of wisdom to help us weather the storm?
Well, I just told you 1 in 20 people are millionaire in London, so just, you know what I mean? Get outside.
Find them.
Yeah. No, but to be honest, like I would say focus on the thing that you're doing as opposed to the outside noise. And I'm saying that because you can't change Babylon. Rome weren't built in a day. You can't rush her. Like I'm trying to think of all the other phrases you got in the bag. But like, you know, if you're focusing on your thing and you do your thing, it's a success because that was your objective, that was your intention. And then how it exists, you know what I mean, goes through the world is how it will go. But like those other elements, we can't control that. So I'd encourage you not to focus on the things you can't control, on the things you can. And you can focus on your creativity and your output and how you share that with the world. Because ultimately that gives you joy.
Absolutely. Obviously there are always financial challenges as a creative. That's, you know, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But it does feel like particularly challenging times. And maybe it's not that it's particularly challenging times. Maybe it's more that more people are affected now than before. But with that in mind, what are your thoughts on that?
Baby. Look, I'm a hustler, baby. Like, I'm just gonna get it done.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
You're either gonna get it done or you're not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Simple as that. This is it.
Just get on with it.
This is it. Yeah. Because there's someone else out there that doesn't have half of what you got on your CV that are linking it.
And you're right. I think sometimes it's about mentality. Like if you have a lack mentality, you're just gonna sit in that space and think there's no money anywhere and there's nothing that you can do. But actually, if you think about like being more resourceful, being more open-minded, pivoting, there may be ways to move forward.
This is it. I'm an abundant babe.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go to a quick fire round. So the first thing that pops into your mind, don't overthink it.
Yes.
If you had £10 million, would you still do what you're doing? And if so, why?
Yes, because I love creating and also just pay off my mum's mortgage and then she's lovely, I'm lovely, we're good to go.
Nice. Music-wise, who are you listening to at the moment?
Salt's new album, number 10, top tier stuff. I just got back from Jamaica, so I'm just being a right yard gal right now. I can't even say the tunes I listen to. And then I'm also listening to a lot of funk and a lot of R&B. Just a little throwback. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Agree or disagree? Anonymity is overrated.
Yes, it's overrated. I disagree.
Okay, I might have to come back to that because that's an interesting answer. If you could only watch one TV show or film for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably Sex and the City.
I'm so shocked.
If not Moesha, just say.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm so surprised. What's your go-to karaoke song?
I got 5. So, but usually it's our Bob Marley, Is This Love?
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse, Valerie.
Yeah.
Maroon 5, Sunday Morning. Kooks, Naive.
Okay.
Adele, Hometown Glory.
Hometown Glory is on my list, absolutely. Also, like, is it the Four Non Blondes? The one, I was going to sing it there, I was like, I don't think I should.
That's it, live your life.
I don't think I can. It's quite high. No, wait. Oh my God. I said, hey, what's going on?
Don't know that one, babe.
Do you know it?
Yeah.
Do you?
I butchered it. Step outside and I take a deep breath and I get right.
Oh, okay, I know that one now.
Yeah. Sorry, Four Non Blondes. I really butchered that. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Who would play me?
Yeah.
Of my life?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it would need to be someone up and coming right now, but otherwise, maybe Kiki Palmer.
Good choice. Love her.
I know, right?
Love her.
Or what's her name?
Give me a clue.
Lashawna? Yes.
Oh, the Charlotte. Yeah. Yes, good choice.
Those two, 100%.
What genre would this film be of your life?
Of my life?
Yeah, what genre?
Wow. Kind of like a little coming of age rom-com.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I want to see this film actually.
Yeah.
So into it. What's a green flag in friendship?
A green flag in friendship. Patience.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the most unexpected thing on your bucket list?
Unexpected thing on my bucket list is probably sitting on a mountain in Malaysia eating a laksa.
Nice. Very cool. Rate these in terms of how much you value them. Romantic love, money, health, family, being creative. And I wrote them on a post-it note just to make it a little bit easier for you.
Wow, here's what you did earlier.
Organised.
Okay.
I'll repeat the question while you're thinking. Rate these in terms of how much you value them. Romantic love, money, health, family, being creative.
Okay, health, number 1. Because without that, I can't enjoy nothing else. Family, love. No. Health, love, family, creative, money. That's probably why I'm broke, innit? Shit have been. But nah. I'm not broke. I'm a rich bitch.
Yeah.
Abundant. I told you already.
Yeah, of course. Let's get to know you a bit better.
Oh, gosh, I feel like I'm talking
We
my
are.
whole
I know.
life.
I feel like we have, but we're going
Gosh.
in a bit more, less industry, more you.
Oh God.
What does success look like to you?
Success is just doing it, whatever it is. So I want to go to this country. Go. I want to write this thing. Write it.
Yeah. So it's like the act of doing it, the practice, the experience.
That's it. That's it.
What's your relationship to failure?
Pretty good.
Tell me more.
Because what's you call it? A failure is a lesson, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, and I'm an eternal student. So yeah, it's good to go. My relationship with rejection.
That's the next question.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There we go. What's your relationship to rejection?
It's challenging. It can be really challenging. But if it's back to back, which I've had last year, soul destroying. Yeah.
And is that both professionally and personally, or just professionally?
Just professionally, Langtings don't reject me.
I need some of that energy. Do you like your own company? I know
Yes.
yes. I know it's a yes. Tell me more.
What's there not to like?
Absolutely. I
So-
love my own company.
Yeah,
I think a bit too much. I think it's probably a problem.
Do you know what? Yeah, so the one thing about that is I find it hard to tell people I want to be by myself. Because I don't want them to feel like they're being rejected.
Yeah, space.
But I really need it to regulate myself to be better with them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow or something.
Especially in a relationship. You do photography,
Yes.
documentaries, poetry, and I know you're also working on some narrative stuff in the background as well. How do you decide what medium something's going to live in?
So what I've been doing is listening to my body, and that's it. If at the moment it's out, my body's calling to write, or I feel like I write a poem, I'm just going to do it there and then, and that's it. And it usually bodes pretty well for me. I just listen to my body. I've been detached from it for a number of years in the past, so I've really reconnected to myself. And like last year, I found my voice, and I found my voice through doing different things, which was poetry and knife drawing. So now I found my voice. I'm only trying to nurture it and then share that. So in this iteration of my life and where I am creatively, I feel more confident to share and do.
It's really beautiful. I've also been feeling really disconnected from my body, my gut, my intuition, whatever you want to call it. I've been feeling very, very, very disconnected, and not just like personally. I've been feeling very disconnected. So I'm also trying to strengthen that connection.
Always listen to your gut.
Yeah.
No, but seriously.
I know
You're
I'm
snaking
meant
yourself.
to. It's a challenge of mine, but I'm consciously working on it.
Why do you ignore it though?
Childhood trauma.
Okay. Barrel
That's the summary of it.
Love that.
Love that for you. That's the summary of it.
Okay, right.
People pleaser. So often putting other people's needs before my own, and it's automatic. But
Do you know who does it quite a lot though?
Who?
This is a little tangent. I'm not going to go down that too far, but just black women.
Yeah.
It's like always seen as like a nurturer, carer, you know,
Yeah.
like filling in gaps, you know. Now you got terms like adultification and all those kind of things there. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So these contribute to the manifestations of people pleasing, because sometimes you're forced to put other people's needs before you, and sometimes you got no choice. And then by the time you got to yourself, you don't even really know how to pour into yourself.
Yeah, and there's nothing left in the cup. And it's like a kind of self-sacrificing.
Yeah.
As my therapist would say.
Okay. Big up your therapist.
Yeah, she's doing good work.
She's getting that check.
Do you have any morning practices or rituals?
Yes. First thing in the morning, I journal. Then I do 15 minutes of yoga. Then I do 10 minutes of meditation. And then 10 minutes of Spanish.
Nice. Do you have a bedtime routine?
No, I just go to bed.
It's when the mood takes you.
Past midnight, this always happens somehow.
Yeah. You've lived in places as diverse as France, New York, South Africa, Amsterdam. How have these places impacted and influenced who you are today?
Well, just because I'm like people obsessed. So travel excites me. Sunshine really excites me. So South Africa was like the first time I'd ever visited Africa, the continent in itself. I was there for like 3 months, learned a lot, and really saw the aftershock of apartheid living live and well, you know. And even though I'm black, they couldn't really comprehend the idea that I didn't speak one of their 13 languages. So then you have that to contend with, because they don't really like trust me, and that's cool because I know that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. That's a fact. But then afterwards, then you know, I became a local, so don't really matter. But just having different experiences, you know, coming out of my comfort zone, pushing boundaries, all of these things really round up my approach to how I communicate with different people, but also what I write or how I see things, just in terms of like colour palettes, like where I lived in South Africa, like the terrain and all these kind of things is just mad. Like when it chucked it down with rain, the whole place is covered in frogs. Frogs are like all over your feet. There's no rivers, so I don't really know where they're hanging out. But yeah, so that was a surreal moment as well.
Wild. I did 2 months in South Africa, and I've done Amsterdam as well. We've kind of trodden similar paths.
Okay. But when you think about it though, like South Africa, and we've done Amsterdam, Babylon. Do you know what I mean? We're seeing Babylon on both sides.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah,
I can't believe we haven't deeped this before.
I know. You've previously stated that you tried to quit the industry more times than your fingers and toes can count.
Shit the bed, where'd you find that?
I do my research, love.
Okay.
But creativity would draw you back like a hearty meal. What is it about being creative?
Did I say that?
You said this.
That's
This is a
crazy.
quote.
Wow. Always bring it back to food, I am.
Yeah. What is it about being creative that fills you up even on the toughest days?
Honestly, it just makes me feel whole. I feel really complete. If I didn't have water, but I had a pen and paper, I'd be ready. Like, I could live. I just like writing and expressing and playing, you know? It just makes me really happy. And every time I try to turn away, every time I try to quit, I'm the worst version of myself. Do you know what I mean? And then because I'm so angry and not creating, I'm a prick to everyone I love. And then I'm in this job that's like, don't even pay me enough to be this miserable. So it's just like, I need to just fly away and do my thing.
I fell in love with film and stuff when I was like 13, and I've always kind of described it as my first love. And I say that because there have been many times that I've fallen out of love with it or been like, we're done, we're broken up now, I'm over you. But I always come back, and I just feel like it'll be the one constant that is going to always be there. And like you said, when I don't do it, I just feel like I wilt.
Sometimes, I just want to talk about art all day.
Yeah.
But like the people that I roll with deeply, not all of them care. So I'm just like, oh gosh, where did I put these thoughts? Like, I really want to talk about this painting I just saw. So, but yeah.
What are you excited about that's coming up professionally or personally?
I got all these projects, yeah. They're not a guarantee that I'm going to get all the things that I want to make them, but in my brain they're done. And I'm really excited about them. Like, I really, really can't wait for people to receive the book that I'm making and watch this film that I'm making and, you know, like, come to this exhibit. There's a lot of different iterations of my expression, still circling across all the themes that I was speaking about. And I think they're really exciting. And I've been quiet a long time and I've dimmed my light in a lot of different places. And right now I feel bright. You know, so yeah, and every year I got a new mantra. This one was 2025, so I'll be thriving in the space of my artistry, and you're gonna, you know, jump on the ride with me. That's it.
I love that. That's beautiful. And then very lastly, you just got back from Jamaica. What's Jamaica saying?
Sensational. Literally, I cried all the way to the airport. I was just like, wow. Like, every day I met someone incredible, whether it was my Uber driver or someone at like Juicy Patty or in the rave, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just incredible. I really love old people. Big up Captain Fox. He's like 76. Like, been working at the Blue Lagoons since he was 14. And then like this other geezer who's a maintenance man like on a side street. Big up Chauncey. Wow, what a man. What a face. Wow. Yeah.
That is it. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Love.
If you like this content, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you on the next episode. Well, that's it.
That's cool. Thank you.
Thank you.